I think they must be in hell. My feeling of heaven on earth is always realizing that we are by nature truth, consciousness, and bliss. Simple question, what is God? Take about a lifetime or lifetimes to work it out. I suppose for me is my idea of consciousness. God is not a thing, something you can necessarily see. It is within everything and outside of everything. I believe that God, the absolute, whatever you want to call it, the self, is unchanging. Therefore, pretty much everything I'm seeing has an element of God, but you couldn't call it God because everything changes. You, me, where we're sitting, this river, this planet has a life cycle, birth, death. But my feeling about God is that it exists beyond that, beyond those laws of nature. It is somehow separate to the laws of time, matter, space. And that's about as close as I've come to any realization of what God is. God is unexplainable. It is a concept that you can't put into words. God is an experience. I was introduced to meditation about 15 years ago, and I meditate twice a day. And if I ever feel close to knowing what God is, it's somewhere in the boundary of that half-hour period. I think the basic idea of the meditation I do is to quiet the mind. Just let all that instrument calm down. And I sometimes have experiences where I feel a little out of body. Ideas of Hugh Jackman as a father, as an actor, all those roles we play just seem to melt away. And somewhere in there is where I have some glimmer, some glimpse at what God is. And it's a feeling. And it's blissful. And it can go like that, and every minute you try and grab onto it, it's gone. It's a different experience every time, but I get glimpses of something that energizes me on such a deep level that I'm not sure exactly what I'd do without that form of prayer. It's a way to be in touch with who I really am. Much of our life, our experience of this body, of being in this creation, is of duality. That in fact there is an interviewer, an interviewee. There is a man and a man, or a man and woman. There's night and day. There's life, death, pain, pleasure. The world exists in this duality. I'm sitting here talking through this body to you, and the camera is seeing a form talking. And there is God within this whole entity and outside of it that exists beyond the words I'm saying, beyond the actions I'm using, beyond the space. There is something linking all of us. That's to me God. The most potent examples I've had of that being connected beyond my physical form, or beyond to someone I love or know or hate, is in the theatre. And I've probably had 3 or 4 times where I've heard many actors describe it. It's almost a slightly out-of-body experience, but you can stand on stage with 2,000 strangers and feel like you know them intimately and they know you intimately, and feel completely safe. You can open up your heart and they're opening their heart, and you're completely connected. It's in that instant a feeling of absolute privilege that you can experience it, and so powerful that it raises the hairs on the back of your neck. And here's the frustrating thing about it. You can't make it happen. You can try your heart out. You can be the most dedicated actor of all time, and you can always do good shows. Of all the shows I've ever done in years of being on stage, probably only 3 or 4 times have I really felt it. And it's a pure blessing. You're there in it. It's this complete knowledge of unity, of community, if you're really listening, it's the space. It's the space between words. If you listen to great music, the greatest composers, I think, understood the space between the notes. And when you feel that, it's so uplifting. It's amazing. And we can get so focused on listening really hard and listening to the music that you forget. The experience of God is restful. I wrestle with this all the time. Is there a way that you can experience God when everything's crap in your life? I try and do this every day. I know you probably think I'm weird, but I will, at the end of a shower, always turn on cold as a little reminder that that's not going to affect who I am. The experience of being warm, pleasurable in a hot shower, it's just an idea that that's better than cold. Is it comfortable to have a really cold shower in winter? It's not comfortable, but why can't God exist in that uncomfortability? A lot of this experience is not easy. It's not, I don't care who you are, it's not easy waking up first thing in the morning. You don't always want to get up out of bed. But can you find God in that? Even in the pain or discomfort, there should be some rest. And then funnily enough, my experience is you can kind of enjoy it. It's weird. You can kind of enjoy the things which most people are not and shy away from. Fear is something that is, I think, the greatest disease of modern times. And lately I've been practicing this whole idea of just resting in the idea that I'm scared. You can't change it. You can't say to your mind, don't be scared. But still to be able to find rest in it, and I think that's God.
What happens when you die?
I think death, you said at the beginning of this interview, you said, I'm going to ask you a very simple question. What is God? And I think death is as simple as that. I think it's another moment. It's another moment that we live through. And my feeling is our attachment to the sensorial life, which is really our connection to this, it's really our only connection, really, to this creation, is what we perceive through the senses. That goes, that somehow the soul or the God within you kind of carries on. I don't know. I truly believe there is a way to find the Garden of Eden here, in this life, wherever you are. You don't have to go to the top of a mountain to do it. I'm born in Sydney, and I think you can find it in the suburb of Sydney. I think it's totally your interpretation of life, the way you live it. And I say that only because I feel like I've had a few moments of experiencing it. Sometimes in meditation, I've had a few moments on stage, some moments in relationships.
So paradise could be here on earth?
Yeah.
What about hell? What's your definition of hell?
The definition of hell that I was taught when I was younger is absence of God. Now, I don't think you can be absent from God, because God is in everything. But I do think that you can get so far away from the laws of nature, that the experience of life is hell. It must be. I haven't done it or been close to doing it, but people take their life. I think they must be in hell. My feeling of heaven on earth is always realizing that we are by nature truth, consciousness and bliss. That is actually our nature. It doesn't mean that you won't go through pain, but within painful or hard times, there can be an experience of bliss. Why can't we love our own life when it seems tragic? What is that? Why does that stop? And it's obviously to do with attachment. You can watch a play and you can be crying watching it and absolutely love it. And yet, if it was your own life, it could be to the point where you want to kill yourself. And that's because you're attached to it. Whereas when you watch a play, you're not attached to it. You just fully can enjoy the fullness of being human, the human experience. You can enjoy it. I think for me, that's hopefully the secret.